Picture this: a powerful snowstorm sweeping across the Montana wilderness. Winds howl through the forest, snow swirling, freezing everything in its path. But in the midst of the chaos, something incredible happens. A bond is formed, one so deep, so unexpected, that it challenges everything we thought we knew about nature, animals, and family. This is a story of survival, loyalty, and the mysterious ways love can conquer even the wildest instincts. Michael Thompson gripped his daughter, Luna's hand tightly as they braved the heavy snowfall, their footsteps muffled by the thick, cold blanket of snow beneath them. They were rushing to get home before the storm hit full force, but nature had other plans. Ahead of them, their 3 shepherd dogs raced through the snow, leading the way as if they had a sense of what was coming. Suddenly, the lead dog stopped. Its ears shot up, nose pointing toward a fallen tree, its body still alert, like something had caught its attention. Without so much as a growl or bark, it rushed forward, the other 2 dogs following swiftly behind. Luna's eyes widened as she pointed to the scene unfolding before them. The dogs were gathered around something, their tails flicking with curiosity. Michael, heart racing, moved closer and froze as he saw what they were crowding around. A tiny bobcat kitten, barely moving, its fur stained with blood. It was a fragile creature, vulnerable, barely clinging to life. Its cloudy blue eyes blinked weakly, as if struggling to hold onto the last threads of consciousness. Michael crouched down, his gloved hands trembling as he reached out to touch the kitten's fur. Bloodstains trailed through the snow, leading deeper into the forest. Could its mother have been killed? The sight of a nearby illegal trap buried under the snow confirmed his suspicion. Michael, a seasoned biologist, knew all too well that getting involved in wildlife matters could often make things worse. But in this situation, he knew this tiny creature had no chance of survival on its own. The storm loomed, and temperatures were dropping fast. The bobcat kitten, already so weak, stood no chance against the brutal cold. Yet, something surprising happened, something Michael couldn't explain. The 3 shepherd dogs, normally protective of their territory and suspicious of other creatures, showed no aggression toward the tiny bobcat. Instead, the lead dog, with gentle care, licked the kitten's head, a gesture of protection that Michael had rarely seen before. It was almost as if the dog knew this was no enemy, but a creature in need, one that couldn't be left behind. Rebecca, Michael's wife and a veterinarian, was initially irritated by the wild animal's presence in their home, but her professional instincts kicked in almost immediately. She examined the kitten, finding it severely malnourished and suffering from hypothermia. After stabilizing its condition, she placed the kitten in a warm, blanket-lined box in the kitchen, convinced that it wouldn't survive the night. But when morning came, the unexpected occurred. Not only had the bobcat kitten survived, but it was now surrounded by the 3 shepherd dogs, who had formed a protective circle around it. The lead dog lay closest to the kitten, keeping it warm, as if it had been a part of the family for years. Luna, witnessing this miracle, decided to name the kitten Scout. The storm raged on outside, and with the roads impassable, communication with the Wildlife Conservation Department became impossible. During this time, Scout didn't just survive. It thrived. In the following weeks, something even stranger began to unfold. Scout, though still a wild animal, started showing behaviors that were far from typical for a bobcat. It mimicked the confident, purposeful gait of the 3 shepherd dogs. When the lead dog sat, Scout sat beside it, perfectly mirroring its posture. Michael, intrigued, began documenting Scout's behavior, noticing every day how the kitten was becoming more dog than wild feline. Scout learned to come when called, something wild cats rarely do. It chased after the youngest dog, engaged in tug-of-war with toys, and even tried to bark. It wasn't a perfect bark, more like a strange hybrid between a growl and a hiss, but it was there a clear indication that Scout was trying to be part of the pack. Months passed, and Scout grew. It was no longer the fragile kitten that Michael had found in the snow, but a strong, healthy bobcat, though its behavior remained as unusual as ever. It ate alongside the 3 dogs, patrolled the farm's boundaries with the lead dog, and at night, slept curled up among them, as if they were its family. Scout had become a living, breathing fusion of wild instincts and canine loyalty. It had the sharp hearing, lightning-fast reflexes, and climbing ability of a bobcat, but it also possessed the loyalty and protective nature of a shepherd dog. Luna posted videos online of Scout's curious behavior, and before long, it became a local phenomenon. People started visiting the farm to see this one-of-a-kind creature. Some were skeptical, others fascinated, but all were in awe of the unique bond that had formed between Scout and the dogs. However, this unusual situation didn't go unnoticed. Ranger Martinez, responding to reports of an illegally kept bobcat, arrived at the farm to investigate. When he saw Scout responding to its name and acting more like a dog than a wild animal, he was stunned. But the law was clear: keeping wildlife without a permit was illegal in Montana. Michael applied for a special wildlife keeping permit, hoping to keep Scout as part of the family. But the decision didn't come easily. 2 months later, the application was denied. The Wildlife Conservation Department insisted that Scout be returned to the wild, despite Michael's argument that Scout had adapted so thoroughly to their way of life that it would not survive on its own. Public outcry followed. Luna posted an emotional video online, and soon millions of people rallied behind the family, urging the Conservation Department to reconsider. Under the pressure of the public, the department agreed to send a team of experts to evaluate Scout's case before making a final decision. The team observed Scout for a day, how it moved, interacted with both dogs and humans, and responded to different stimuli. The zoologists and ranger were amazed by Scout's ability to adapt, but they also reminded the family of the one inescapable fact: the bobcat was still a wild animal, and it belonged in the wild. They proposed a compromise. Scout would be taken to a wilderness area not far from the farm, fitted with a GPS collar, and monitored closely. If it could adapt to life in the wild, it would be set free. If not, other options would be considered. The day of separation came too quickly, and the emotional toll on the family was immense. Luna cried. Rebecca prepared a food supply for 2 weeks, knowing that Scout would need to learn to hunt, and Michael, his hands shaking, placed the GPS collar around Scout's neck one final time. But the most heart-wrenching moment was when the 3 dogs reacted. They whined, barked, and tried to prevent the rangers from taking Scout. The lead dog stood in front of the car, refusing to move until Michael gave the command. At the release site, deep in a lush valley, the cage was opened, and Scout stepped out cautiously. For a moment, it paused, as if unsure whether to leave. But then, a rustle in the bushes caught its attention. Wild instinct took over, and with the grace of a true predator, Scout darted into the forest, disappearing from sight. The family returned home, hearts heavy with uncertainty. As they watched the GPS tracking screen, they saw Scout move deeper into the forest, heading in a specific direction. It was clear that Scout was trying to find its way home, to the only place it had ever known. Days passed, and the family waited, checking the GPS data relentlessly. The 3 dogs, meanwhile, were in a deep depression. They refused to eat, refused to play, and spent hours sitting by the hill, staring into the distance, waiting for their family member to return. And then, something incredible happened. On the 10th day, the GPS showed a strange change. Scout had stopped for nearly 24 hours on a high point in the forest. Michael feared the worst had it been injured. But as the sun set, the GPS data showed Scout moving once more, steadily heading toward the farm. Day by day, Scout's movements became more purposeful. It was not wandering aimlessly, but heading straight back home, like it knew exactly where it was going. The GPS data confirmed it. Scout had covered 30 miles in just the first 5 days of its journey, faster than a normal bobcat could travel through unfamiliar territory. The journey was not without its challenges. Scout crossed rivers, navigated busy highways, and even passed through human settlements. Each obstacle it overcame was another testament to its determination and the strange connection it still had with its family. Then the unthinkable happened. On the 12th night, the GPS signal went silent. The last recorded position showed Scout near a rocky area, about 40 meters from the farm. Michael and Luna rushed to the location, searching through the dense trees, calling Scout's name, but there was no sign of it except for a broken GPS collar. The next 3 days were agonizing as the family waited, clinging to hope. But then, on the third night, something miraculous occurred. The 3 dogs, sensing something was about to happen, rushed to the door, barking excitedly. When Michael opened it, standing in the moonlight, was Scout, thin, dirty, but alive, and staring straight at the house. After covering at least 100 miles, crossing rivers, highways, and encountering dangers along the way, Scout had found its way home. It rushed forward, no longer the cautious wild animal, but a member of the family, reunited with its beloved dogs. Luna, overcome with emotion, knelt beside it, stroking its fur. The dogs, too, surrounded Scout, tail wagging in joy. The bond between them, all stronger than any instinct, deeper than any separation, was undeniable. Michael, staring at this extraordinary creature, realized that Scout's journey had proven one simple truth. Love and attachment can sometimes be stronger than even the most powerful of natural instincts. And family, in its truest sense, is not defined by where you're born, but where you're loved, where you belong. Scout's journey from a dying kitten to a wild creature living between 2 worlds shows us that the heart of an animal is as wild and untamed as the world it calls home, but sometimes even the wildest hearts find their way back to where they belong.